Hey, who doesn't like spaghetti? Let's go ahead and make some spaghetti the way they did back in January 1949 Berlin airlift. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Dave Guerra. This is Vet Cooks. Welcome. Hope everything is good with you. Hope you are well. Let's get started. Today's episode, again, taken from the Operation Vittles Cookbook. So let's dive in. And today, as I mentioned at the top, it's spaghetti. But it's not just any spaghetti. It's chicken spaghetti, page 56 of the Operation Vittles Cookbook, and it's by Mary R. Texlor, Texlor is what I can read. She signed her name, and I do apologize, but I think we got it. Or Texlock, Texlok, so Texlock. So either way, Mary, I do apologize. Family members of Mary, do apologize, but again, it's a great little recipe. It's got a little bit of a lot, but it's going to serve quite a bit. So let's dive in. It's going to take a chicken, a 5 to 6 pound chicken. Oh, you can do a whole one. You can get one that's already cut up, but about 5 to 6 pounds. So you already know how much this is going to make. Olive oil, we're going to need a little olive oil. So it's in here someplace. 2 large onions. And so we're not going to use the huge onion we used in the last, in the Stroganoff episode, but we got 2 large onions. And I'm kind of looking at it. We had a little conversation about the size of the onions today versus what they were in 1949, and we've determined that this would be just about baseball size, would be large, so a little bit larger than that. What else we got? 2 cloves of garlic. There we go. Half cup of hot water. Here's a good one. This one threw me for a loop. A number 2.5 can of tomatoes. A number 2.5 can. It wasn't like 2.5 cans. No. It's a number 2.5, and our good folks over at the University of Nebraska, Lincoln, the extension service over there. Extension is okay. There we go. They shared How to Interpret Can Size by Alice Henneman, MSRD, UNL, Lancaster County Extension. Some favorite older recipes may call for can sizes such as a number 2 or a number 303 can. Here's a chart to help you determine how to correspond to the current can measurements. So a number 2.5 actually reads to about 3.5 cups, which is about 27 to 29 ounces. So in this case, we're using some petite diced tomatoes, 19.5 ounce, 2 of those cans. So it's exactly 29 ounces, and that's a number 2.5 can. So thank you there, University of Nebraska at Lincoln. 1 can of tomato paste, or 1 number 2 can of tomato juice, 2 tablespoons of sugar. Then we're going to have about 1 pound of fresh mushrooms, 3 tablespoons of butter, a cup of red wine. We're going to dive into some red wine, that's for sure. So we're cooking with wine today, folks, cooking with wine. And 2 packages of thin spaghetti and some grated Parmesan cheese. So 2 packages of spaghetti. So already we know it's going to serve a lot. So obviously we're going to make it as best as we can, sticking true to the original recipe, and let's go from there. So let's get started. Okay, we're back. Now, we've cut up the chicken. We cut the breast pieces, the breast into 2 pieces, so four breast pieces technically. The legs separated from a leg and thigh combo. And we put in the oil, let it come up to temperature. We chopped up the 2 large onions and 2 cloves of garlic. Put that in there. That's what's over here on camera 2 right now, nicely getting well underway. And the chicken's just about ready to go in. Now, about the chicken and about the recipe in general. If you notice, it never calls for salt. None of the recipes that we've done so far call for salt, especially last week's should not call for salt. Now, the situation is that, we kind of come up with, that's a standard cooking standard equipment for cooking, salt and pepper. So it goes without saying, it could be that they're just getting to the nitty gritty of it. Obviously salt and pepper to taste. So in this case, what we did is, after we cut up the chicken, yes, we did salt the chicken. I'm going to go ahead and throw in a breast here, get that cooking in here, and there's another breast piece here. And unfortunately, I think we're going to need a bigger container or another container, because we ended up using a 6-pound chicken. So we will get that going in there, and definitely want to have the chicken salted, peppered, and ready to go. Now, of course, it's going to draw out the natural flavors of the onions and the garlic and all that. That's going to mix in, and make sure you have your burner up to temperature. All right, so that's going to cook a little bit, and really there's not much you can do. Yes, you can get ahead to prep for the spaghetti, but the problem there is that it's going to want to sit there. The recipe calls for it to sit there between 2 and 3 hours. We're going to let it sit there a couple of hours, but let's keep an eye on this chicken. All right, the chicken's been browned and it's in the pot, and we had to move it to another pot. So we still have all the oil, we still have all the residue, all the water from the onions and the garlic, and they're looking great. But we also have all the good stuff down below. So what are we going to do? Well, the recipe says we pour the water in here, stir it up, and then dump it into the pot. But what I'm going to do is put in the tomato sauce. Or the tomatoes, sorry, the diced tomatoes. Now, the recipe did not call for tomato sauce. Even the substitution for the tomato paste said a number 2 can of tomato juice. So we're going on the assumption that tomato sauce was not a thing, or it was very, very difficult to get the tomato sauce. But tomato sauce, tomato juice, it's just like a couple of spices over. That's all it is. So we're going to go ahead and dump that in here. Oh, that's looking nice over here on camera too. Yeah. Camera 2 is full of red. It's looking good. And before I add the water, we're going to go ahead and add the paste. And I've already removed it from the little Hunt's can, the Hunt's tomato paste can. And let's go ahead and dump that in here. It's going to make it just a little bit easier to work with and not fight with the can. You see it all came out. Very little left behind. So there we go. Stir that in. Get that wet a little bit to take off the extras. Because hey, tomato paste. They don't grow that on trees. It's on a vine. Okay, so there we go. I think we're good here. We're going to add just a little bit of the water to help break down the tomato paste. And the recipe does call for the 2 tablespoons of sugar. And we're going to go ahead and add that here. And again, we're keeping true to the recipe. Okay, so I know it's like 2 tablespoons of sugar. What's going on? Oh, let's find out. There we go. I don't think we need anything else. I think everything else is good to go. Let's add the rest of the water. Now we're done with that. And let's go ahead and move this over a little bit. Ooh, that is hot. Oh, you know what? We can do it this way. And let's see if we can move this over. There we go. Yeah. There we go. Okay. So here's the pot with the chicken. Give it a final stir. And again, just to get everything off the spoon here. All right, here we go. Whoa. And we're going to pour it in. You have to go big spoon on this one. Yeah, you see all that stuff's coming off? And there you go. Oh, nice. All that chicken flavor, everything else has gone into the pot with the chicken. All right, now, what are we going to do? Now we're going to bring it to a simmer. We're going to put it on the stove, and we're going to bring it to a simmer. Cover and simmer for 2 or 3 hours. It's up to you. So, yeah, it's really going to break it down. It's going to make this a really good looking sauce. And then we're going to add the mushrooms. We'll add the wine and all that extra stuff. But for now, let's go ahead and fast forward to 2 hours. Sliding this way. Okay, so we just got the chicken in the pot there, and it's going to simmer there for a couple of hours. Before we move on to fast forward in time, I just want to give a shout out, huge thanks to everyone that's watched, everyone that's emailed, everyone that's commented, everyone that's done likes, everything on Twitter at ThisVetCooks, on Facebook, facebook.com/ThisVetCooks, facebook.com/ThisVetCooks, on Instagram, instagram.com/ThisVetCooks, email me. Got questions, just want to reach out and say something. ThisVetCooks, all one word, at gmail.com. ThisVetCooks at gmail.com. Also, don't forget to visit the website. It has all the past shows all collected into one website, one web page. Well, technically it's 2 pages, but anyway, that's www.thisvetcooks.com. So please take a visit, drop by, drop me a note, say hello, say something, give me a follow. We'll give you a follow back. And hey, thanks a lot. Thank you. So you know what? I'm gonna take a rest here. I've got 2 hours to wait. I'm gonna put my feet up, do a little Call of Duty action. All right, talk to you in a bit. Okay, so we're back. It's a little bit later now. A little bit later. All right, so what we've got over here is we're at that point where we now need to start cooking up the mushrooms. So the 3 tablespoons of butter into a skillet, and this also would be a good time, just as the butter is starting to melt, go ahead and load up your pot that you're going to cook the spaghetti in. You can bring that to a boil, so it'll take a little bit of time to bring up to the boil. So while we get this going, get the water in the pot on the stove, turn it on. Turn it up high enough so water boils. All right, so we've got the butter melted here, or just about melted, and we'll get the mushrooms in. And again, we are using a pound of fresh mushrooms or 3 small cans. If you don't have fresh and you have canned mushrooms, it would be the 3 small cans of mushroom. All right, so we're going to fry them in and fry them down, get them all ready for about 10 minutes. And then once it's all ready, we're going to add the mushrooms. We're going to add mushrooms and wine to the chicken. So that wine was a cup, right? It was 1 cup of wine. Yeah, 1 large cup of wine. And you get to do whatever you want to with the rest of that wine. That's up to you. All right, so here we go. So we're not going to cook the wine here. It's all going to go into the sauce. So here we go. That is a lot of mushrooms, but they're going to cook down. How does camera 2 see it? Oh, let's fix that on camera 2. Let's just go ahead and do a little slidey slide. There we go. That is a lot of mushrooms, but hey, this will get cooked down. It will be taken care of. So no worries there. A little tossy toss, and you might have to pick up we're going to pick up that temperature a little bit. Didn't want the butter to turn brown. And here we go. So we'll let this cook down here for a couple of minutes, and we'll be right back. All right, so we fried up the mushrooms. We didn't batter them or anything. Didn't turn them into deep fried, but using the butter, just cooked them. And of course, they rendered down, releasing all their liquids. So don't get them soggy. They're going to finish cooking in the pot with the chicken and the tomatoes and all of that great flavor, the onions and the garlic. So over here on camera 2, how are we looking on camera 2? Making that adjustment. There we go. Let's go ahead and take a look. And we'll get rid of that. There we go. Oh, that is looking good. We just took it off the stove. It's only been on there about 2 hours. So what's the first thing we need to do? It says to go ahead and, well, let's give it a little stirry stir. Let's see what it looks like in here. Oh, look at that chicken. Look at all that. Really nice rendered down. Now, ooh, you have big chunks of chicken. That's going to be delicious. All right, then let's go ahead and bring in our mushrooms. And here they are. You can bring them in with the liquid or without. It's up to you. I'm going to try to go without the liquid. Well, as much of without the liquid as possible. There we go. And there we go. There's that. And back up here, camera 1. Right. The recipe does call for 1 cup of wine. Cheers, salute, prost, and also straight to the chicken tomato. It looks fantastic. Sounds great. Now we're going to give it a mixy mix and a stirry stir and let it all get happy together. Oh yeah, you can see all that mushroom now. Oh, it smells great. Smelled fantastic when it went into the simmer. And as the afternoon progressed, it got even better. And there it is. So now we're going to return it back to the heat, let it finish doing its thing. So get that water boiling, get those spaghetti noodles going, and you'll be off and running. Here we go. And here we are, spaghetti boiled, drained. Now we're going to go ahead and plate up. We've got the chicken and the sauce up there. We're going to give it a stir before we continue. That way it mixes up anything that was at the top, mixes up inside there with no problem. So, ooh, that's a lot. There we go. Excellent. Alrighty. Now, using the tongs, because it's going to be slippery, don't use anything else unless you're a pro. Go ahead and take out that piece of meat. And there we go. It should have a little red tint to it. Just layer it right up on top. Oh, mushroom tagged along. Excellent. And then we go ahead and give it a good stir. Now that we've freed up some space down below, we can actually get our content there. Don't forget, it's got wine, tomatoes, mushrooms, onions, garlic, and it's spaghetti. So let's drop in some Parmesan and Romano cheese. All right, so all right, careful there. Don't want to open up that one. You want to use the shaker side. And shaking it, tapping it. There we go. And through the miracle of modern technology, here's fork in hand. Gonna go ahead and dive right in. Taking a little bit. Oh my. That is fantastic. Chicken, so tender. Look at that, just peeled right off. Oh man. Chicken spaghetti, it just right off the bone. So be careful when you're taking it out, otherwise it's going to slip. All you're going to end up with is a bone. So be careful there taking it out. Maybe have the spoon ready to go at a moment's notice, or maybe at some point you're going to know as you're taking things out. Hey, listen, before I go, I do want to say, make sure you make that call, the Veteran Crisis Line, 1-800-273-8255. When an automated attendant answers, press number 1 for veterans. Do so. Just make the call, please. The Veteran Crisis Line, it's there for you. Make the call. And hey, listen, chicken spaghetti from the Operation Vittles Cookbook, January 1949, right in the middle or near the downside of the Berlin airlift. But of course, at that time, they didn't do it. They didn't know it. And hey, they made something good out of that situation they were thrust into, and it was a unique situation. And they made this cookbook, and this is what, our third recipe now. And man, home run after home run after home run. We're about to hit a grand slam on this next one. Let's see what the next episode does. But listen, I'm going to go ahead and have some spaghetti. I'm Dave Guerra, and this Vet Cooks.